What if I told you that if you wanted to be successful, you'd have to work really hard at it? Now, I know you're probably thinking, no shit. That's like the most obvious thing I think I've ever heard. But that's the thing about self help. A lot of it is stating the obvious and trying to package it in a way that they can sell to you so you can be tricked into thinking that it's beneficial to you. I don't think that all self help is like this, but I do think that a lot of it is because I can't tell you how many times I hear just insanely obvious stuff from like these seminars that they hold or the books, or God forbid, if they have a set of books. I know you purchased my self help book when it came to business, but did you purchase my one when it came to business relationships? Oh, now I know. I was being an asshole to everybody I'd ever met, but then I read your self help book on business relationships and I learned that people don't like it when you're an asshole to them. Who would have thought? The most obvious thing you could tell a person. But that's the thing, right? People want a book that they can read that solves their problems. They want to be able to read a book front to back. And I wish this book existed. I wish that we could find a book that you would read front to back. And then when you got to the end, it just clicked in your brain. Like it wouldn't matter if you were working 40, 50, 60 hours a week at your regular job. If you read this book, something would change in you. You'd get off of work every single day and you would start working on your passion. It wouldn't matter if you want to be an electrician or if you want to, I don't know, be a musician, whatever it is, you would just start working on it all the time. But it just doesn't work that way. And a lot of people fool themselves into thinking they're being productive by reading a lot of self-help books and then just kind of doing what they were doing before, but with the knowledge that if they just worked a little bit harder on this thing, they'd be a bit more successful. And that's exactly how the Manosphere and Red Pill content works as well, but it's more oriented towards men. We're men, dude. I can only speak as a straight man that's married. We like women. We tend to enjoy having a vulgar sense of humor. I'm no saint when it comes to that. You know, I've said many times, you know, even if I, talk about something like the Manosphere and how stupid it seems to me, I'm not very politically correct. You know what I mean? I'm not the kind to get offended. I'm not offended by locker room talk. And there's basic men one-on-one shit that I feel it naturally makes Manosphere content attractive to a regular dude. But the problem is it has some of the same issues that self-help has, right? Besides all the typical stuff that people complain about, like toxic masculinity and shit like that. Because I remember when Tate was making his rounds, right? And there were a lot of people mad at him, and there were a lot of people that defended him. But this isn't about the regular people that defended him. There was a small subsection of people that defended him who would say things like, I don't really like what this Tate guy is saying about women, but I do appreciate that he's encouraging men to work out. That's all it takes. I wasn't aware that there was a shortage of content creators convincing men to work out specifically. I was actually under the impression that there's literally content creators in all kinds of different circles. It could be calisthenics, it could be weightlifting, it could be powerlifting, it could be strongman, it could be long distance running, it could be what are they called? Those endurance marathons or whatever. It could be anything. There is literally a content creator for all of this content. And not only would that guy tell you that you should be lifting all the time, but he'll also tell you what you should be eating. And some of these dudes, they do it for free. Now, you can pay for their program. And that's kind of up to you. That's up to you. Now, me personally, I feel like there's some core tenets that still apply. Eat enough protein. Like there's some obvious shit. Like next you're going to tell me that eating enough protein and eating your greens is going to make you big and strong. Yeah, no shit. Our grandmas have been telling us that since the dawn of time. We all know this. But the thing that kind of gets me about the Manosphere stuff is like they take any type of criticism aggressively. But you have to understand that I'm not here to like make fun of dudes in the Manosphere that are like chronically single or clearly have some self-esteem issues that they need to work on. I'm genuinely it's coming from a place of concern. Are younger men have so many shit influences when it comes to like these Manosphere content creators. If you're in your 30s and you're watching Fresh and Fit or whatever, just religiously, you're kind of already, I don't know, in my opinion, you have a relatively fully developed brain. You've made your choices. It is what it is. If you're in your early 20s, or God forbid, still in high school and you're watching this content, there's a part of me that genuinely feels bad. Genuinely. This isn't like I want to be, I'm going to own you. I'm going to step because I have a wife. I have a wife so I can talk mad shit. You're just some dude in a Discord. But it's not like that. It's not like that at all. It's the fact that I've seen stats that show the rise in single men, the rise in male suicide. I'm also noticing a rise in Manosphere content. And even though this content is, at this point, a lot of this content really started to grow during the pandemic. So we're talking 5 years, around 4 or 5 years. I haven't noticed a decrease in any of these numbers. I haven't noticed like men's suicide rates going down. I haven't noticed an increase in men dating. Because truth be told, if you are like Andrew Tate or if you are like Fresh and Fit and you genuinely believe a lot of the things they say, but you have none of the money to back it up, then you're just some random asshole. Like Fresh and Fit, whichever one is the one that's more of an asshole. I can't remember what his name is. Is that Fresh or is that Fit? And then Andrew Tate, I'm sure even they would admit that they're assholes. That's like the whole point. They're assholes. They're tough love about being a man. That shit doesn't work if you don't have $1 million in your bank account. That's the thing. They convince you, and I've seen y'all say this, they convince you that women only care about one thing, but really it's the women that go for them. They attract that kind of woman because like there are some women, they don't care if they get treated like shit. They know you have money, right? But that's like your Miami women. That's not every woman. It's not even the majority of women. And you're doomed with all these other ones. You're doomed with both sides because the regular women you're scaring away with your everything's so bad. Women are like this. They don't want to be held accountable for blah, 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 all this shit. And then at the opposite side of the spectrum, you're doomed with the Miami women that literally do only care about money and shit like that because you don't have the money. You don't have the money. You might be able to benefit from being jacked if you are, but the majority of you are not. The majority of people that join in on this Manosphere shit, you subscribe to all these different channels, you pay for books, you pay for programs, you pay to get into Discords. The majority of the people in that situation are no different than any other person, any other man on the planet. And it's important that you understand that I realize that by talking about this, like by default, because I've seen other people talk about the Manosphere and Red Pill shit, there's always dudes that come after them like, you're talking and you look like that, you behave like that, you talk like that, you only have this many subs. Trust me when I say this. I've said this before. There were people that were talking shit when I had 10 subs. They said I'd never hit 100. Okay? They never said I'd hit 1,000. They never said I'd hit 1,500. You have to start somewhere. I'm making shit. Some of you aren't even making shit. That's what gets to me. The fact that you're not being productive. But like all the shit you could say about me doesn't really matter. At least not as far as like how I look or act or talk, right? Because I'm a married man. Like, quite frankly, I don't give a shit. I'm a married man with a good job. Now, would I love to flip? And I wouldn't say be in a similar situation to Fresh and Fit, but would I love to make 6 figures off of content creation? Yeah, duh, no shit. Everyone would. But at the end of the day, right? I know that I always have somebody in my life that I can look to and depend on. And what I worry about is a lot of these Manosphere and Red Pill dudes getting caught up in the self-help circle that I've seen self-help people go down, where they keep reading self-help books, book after book. Oh, here's the new one. It's supposed to be the new greatest self-help book. You're going to figure it out. It's called Figure Your Shit Out by who knows. But then they don't do shit. They don't do anything else. Is way high. So in 5 years, when I see the numbers have gone up across the board, and I could be wrong, maybe they do know the secret. I haven't really seen it working out. It kind of seems like whenever you see people discuss these dudes, the women tend to not really like them. Average women, you know what I mean? Like the typical woman that's not very like focused on finding a sugar daddy. But like I said, that's the thing. You're doomed if they're looking for a sugar daddy too, because you don't, like, not only you're an asshole, but you don't even have the money to back it up. And if that's who you want to go for, that's who you want to go for. But I don't know. It's like a known fact at this point that men in the manosphere and red pill, they value themselves very high in a lot of ways. And it's annoying that we live in a world where, like, a lot of these dudes are going to be fucked. But I can tell you right now, at the end of this video, like, as we wrap this video up, you want to know how to feel better all the time? You want to know how to be more productive? Start going to the gym. Oh, but I didn't have the motivation to go to the gym. Don't care. You're not going to have the motivation to do a bunch of other shit either, but you're just going to have to. You're not going to have the motivation to, wake up when the kid wakes up at 4 a.m., the new infant child, or to take the puppy out, whatever it might be. You're not always going to have the motivation to go to that job that you hate, but you got to pay the power. You got to pay the bills. So yeah, you should get into weightlifting. Now, I'm not the best example because I eat like shit and I hate cardio, but I do love lifting. Lifting's fun. But even that, getting your heart rate up beyond just like the typical, you're going to feel healthier and you're going to look better. There are legitimate pathways in your brain that are strengthened by regular exercise. That could be walking 30 minutes a day. It could be going for a jog. It can be weightlifting. It can be doing jumping jacks or burpees, calisthenics, whatever it is. Get up and get active. These pathways are strengthened by exercise, meaning that it's now easier for feel-good chemicals to move around in your brain. What does that mean? That means whenever you go outside, you know how sometimes you walk outside and you kind of take in the sun and the fresh air. Maybe there's a breeze and you're like, this is nice. When you've been exercising for a while, it feels 4 times better. Like, not even joking. I even went through this recently because I talked about how we moved from Florida, and I went through one of the first winters I've had in a very long time, and it hit me hard. I spent a lot of time inside. I wasn't working out as much. Then the sun came out and I started getting back into my workouts, started spending more time out in the sun. Even mowing the grass felt phenomenal. Life just felt like it was worth living. It was because of working out. And all the struggles I had before that were not because of dirty Miami horse. It's because I wasn't working. And now I know. Now I know that if I live in a cold place where we actually go through winter and, seasonal depression is a thing, now I know that I'm going to have to tough it out and I'm still going to have to hit the weights because otherwise it's going to hit me real hard and I'm going to be real depressed next winter. But we know the secret. Sometimes motivation is a fickle bitch. It really is. It really is just like that. You don't feel like working out, but you have to. That's what being a man is like. That's what's so crazy about all this. Because nowadays, man, the amount of dudes that I see that will stomach a bourbon shot when they don't like bourbon. And I like bourbon and cigars, man. But I can't tell you how many men that I've hung out with who will just force a shot of bourbon, or, they'll smoke a cigar and it's clear they don't like the taste. Like, they're always just, why are you doing this? They think that's manly shit. I don't know. To me, a man is somebody that takes care of their family and their friends and their mind and body. And that's really all you need. If you're on top of those things, you're doing your job as a man. And that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that you have to make 6 figures. It just means like, you take care of your family. Maybe if your significant other is working a job because you don't make enough money on your own, maybe you also help clean up around the house. You install the shelves. That can include the men duties. You move the furniture. You fix the cars. It's basic shit. It's basic 101 shit. It's helping other people. It's not holding other people down. And that's all the Manosphere shit is. But it's packaged into like a self-help thing for men. They've cleverly made it so like they're stating the obvious shit that is beneficial to you. As a man, you should take care of your family and you should work out. No shit, that's what you should do. But then they also kind of throw in like, and also, maybe women are the sources of all your fucking problems. Women are not the sources of all your problems. It's you. It's always been you. For the majority of you. Some of you, you really got shafted by, who knows, you got shafted by a divorce court, whatever it might have been. The sheer amount of people that I see talking about custody, family courts, alimony, child support, that have never had a kid. I can't tell you how many people I've seen bring up the fact that men are screwed over by the child support system that have never had a child themselves. How would you know, brother? I mean, I know that you can obviously speak up on it. And I do think that there are cases, obviously, where men are getting shafted. But it kind of seems like you redirect it towards the wrong areas. Some of you are arguing with like OnlyFans models on TikTok, or not TikTok, Twitter, X.com, thinking that you're making a change. You're not. You're just scaring the hoes.